Because, it's his birthday. I live like an hour and a half away. We did the reunion show, was it 2 weeks ago now? Yeah. So it's just wild how it all happened. And I'm very grateful that it happened. I'm glad to be here in person doing another Nerd Theory with you, man. So, yeah, it's just, things work in mysterious ways. And so it's just serendipitous and cool and fun. So thank you for inviting me, and happy freaking birthday, man.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah,
it's wild. It's kind of full circle now. We have a live panel sort of thing, which is like our first one. And thank you everyone for coming. Obviously, this is very special for us because it's like our first one that today, like we just met literally like an hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
So this is cool.
Yeah. So you guys are part of history, Nerd Theory history.
Yeah, a little bit.
So thank you.
So I think we're just gonna do some questions and stuff. So if you guys like have anything you want to say, we're gonna do our little spiel and talk about the future of our channels and what we have planned. We were talking about that like about an hour ago.
Yeah.
And then we'd love to answer some of your guys' questions just as if we were live.
Yeah.
Well,
and then
real life.
And there's like I think when it comes to Star Wars, the next big things that are on the horizon, you have Celebration. What, at the end of next month?
I'm not going.
Yeah, no, I'm not going either. But I think it's next month, right?
I think so.
So the thing what I was thinking about on the drive over here was that'll be the first time that the rumor mill gets codified. Meaning, like right now, we're hearing all these rumors. We're hearing all there's like 6 Ray movies. There's like there's a lot of stuff going on. This will be the first time that they come out on stage and actually announce it and actually tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what's your dream scenario? Like, is there something that could happen next month? Because I have mine, but I want to know yours. Do you have like a dream scenario of what could happen at Celebration that would get you excited about Star Wars again?
I think a shit ton of different things have to happen.
So like obviously, Kathy, I think really needs to step down, or at least, someone else needs to take over. But that's the fear I have, is like, who's going to take over?
Yeah.
And we've talked about this so much online. It's like, are we going to get someone that's just the same thing? And what's up with Dave Filoni? Like, I used to be a huge fan of his, but where's his direction now? Like, will he be kind of, his chains will be broken once she's gone? Mm. Or is he just going to continue down this path of just something that was maybe different from George? So that's really like what I think would be the first big thing, is like she full on retiring.
Yep.
Besides that, we need someone that has, I think, real vision, and someone that just really respects what George did.
Yeah.
Which we've talked about until the cows come home, and it's so simple, yet it's so difficult, it feels like. And I've said this before, but Stuart Beattie, who wrote the original trilogy for the Obi-Wan Kenobi movies, that man gets it. Like, his treatment, his script I think it would have inspired all of us, and it felt very much like George wrote it. So they obviously can hire the right people, but I don't, and then they just fire them. So if they could just maybe like hire them, keep them, and then run with that, I think that'd be really good. But the future of Star Wars, it just comes down to, like you said, Celebration. What are we going to have announced?
Yeah.
Who's going to be in control?
Yep.
What do you want to see?
Well, I think Kathy stepping down, at this point, I'm not even sure that it'll be officially announced because of the leaks and everything. It seemed like when that report came out, in the rebuttal she did an hour before our reunion show, she was kind of saying that the retirement's not as imminent as you think. It might happen months or a year from now. So we don't even know if she's actually going to step down. And even if that was a plan, the league could have changed that. Obviously, that would be incredible. But just like you, I have questions. It looks like it is Dave, but it looks like it's Dave with somebody else. Who that somebody else is a huge deal.
It's John.
If it's John, I'm excited. That would be, for me, a huge win. And I would feel very good about that, partially because I think John he doesn't just get Star Wars, and he doesn't just get storytelling, and he's really brilliant at that. But he's also been, from what I've heard, at odds with a lot of the stuff that Kathy has done, and he sees it very differently. We have never heard that publicly spoken. Everybody toes a line, you know, and they're company people, and I get it. But I've heard that person. I believe that. I'm not so sure about Dave. You know what I mean? I think, frankly, like, we're both like a little like, what's the deal here? It's just because it feels like he's A, defended her, and B, not really shown any sign of being critical of where the brand is at, right? So if it's John and Dave, hallelujah, I would feel so good about that. But then I have major questions and concerns. If it's Carrie Beck, I'm not thrilled.
Yikes.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled, just because I think she represents more of the same,
Yeah.
you know, frankly. And then if it were some other executive that I never heard of, I'd be afraid of that, the same thing.
Yeah.
There's still a possibility, outside chance it would be Kevin Feige. I actually think that would be good, but I don't know how that makes sense with everything he's doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the Kathy piece is huge. It, again, might not actually get resolved at Celebration, but if it does, that would be great. And you know, it would be great to follow up and do something with you about that too.
Yeah.
And then the questions are, what are they going to announce for the movies? And the thing that's weird about that, and we all know, is even what they announce is not necessarily what will come, but it is at the very least what they are signaling to us as far as, hey, this is what we think you, the fans, would want.
Yeah.
So, you know, I want to talk to you a little bit about Mando Grogu too, and maybe if you guys had questions about that. But yeah, what are the next Star Wars movies, right? Because 2 years ago at Celebration, they announced Mangold's movie, Filoni's movie, and then the Charmin Obed Chinoy movie.
Right.
John's Mando Grogu movie was not even on that list. Neither were the 16 Ray movies that they're supposedly making.
Yeah.
So they're going to hopefully come out and show us what the plan is. So between the Kathy piece and between the piece of the movies being announced, and that's I personally, guys, I need to see what that looks like before I can get enthusiastic. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be enthusiastic about Star Wars.
Yeah, me too.
But
I think all of us do, right? That's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's why I started the channel.
Yeah.
And it's just deviated, you know. But I'm, as much as they keep, you know, straying away, I'm very hopeful. I do believe that the right person can come along, guy or girl, and just make, you know, stuff that we all enjoy and inspire us at the end of the day. But until they do that, you know, we're focused on our channels. We're always still going to be there, and we want to bring the show back as well.
And have a bit of a different spin on it with talking about everything to do with just, you know, movies and pop culture in general, which is kind of what the show turned into after like hour 4 or 5.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's, you know, we have a lot of cooking to do on that, because I think we can bring it back better than ever. And I also don't think we can really get away from Star Wars. I've been thinking about this, because the truth is, I'm potentially at a worse spot than you were with Star Wars right now.
Yeah, you were saying this.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's very difficult for me, because, you know, I had a meeting yesterday with some people on my team, and I was just, they were asking about Andor, and I was like, I'm not covering that show, you know what I mean? But at some,
you're not?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay.
I'm very grateful that the show's not coming back until after Andor, actually, with you and me.
Yeah.
But I do love Star Wars, man. 2 weeks ago, when we really thought that she was gone, and when we maybe thought John and Dave really were taking over, it was the most excited I had been about Star Wars in a long time. Had all these old nostalgic memories flood back. It felt incredible, and I want to be back there. And so I don't think we can necessarily get away from Star Wars. I'm going to try to find a way to cover it maybe straight and not, you know, let the anger get to me and become a total dickhead about it. But at the same time, it would really help us out if, like, Celebration, like, you know, had a decent showing and gave us something for the future. You know, what you just said, as far as any guy or gal could come in and, like, make a Star Wars story, I think that's what it's going to take, is not one, but maybe several Star Wars projects in a row that felt like not only good, but felt like somebody's vision. You know what I mean? And it felt like it mattered and it had meaning, and it wasn't just a product created to appeal to whatever demographic.
To make money.
Yeah. And that's if I can get if I walk away from Celebration with a sense of them doing that, even if it's Dave and Carrie, I'll be optimistic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, it just comes down to the product at the end of the day.
yeah.
What do you guys want to see?
Yeah. What do you guys want to see?
Okay, so I'll try not to steal the floor for that one, but honestly, I've been, oh, okay.
I've been saying it, and I'm sure everybody else has been saying it. I don't think it's a matter of who is coming next. It's about who's already here. You two are already here. They are already here. I'm already here. Some of the best stories that come from Star Wars come from fans who got licensed, who got comic books, who got to work. Your Vader series, you got to work. I put on this cosplay, I got to work. At the end of the day, the people that are going to save Star Wars is going to be people that were raised on Star Wars. And I feel like that's kind of our purpose. That's what brought us to this very moment. So it's not a matter of who's in the shadows waiting to take over. It's we're here to pick up the pieces to show we're done waiting. And that's pretty much all I've got on that.
I like that. Yeah.
It hits a little harder when Maul says it, eh? It's like,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Anybody else?
yeah, please.
I would like to see something Darth Bane or something when there was the Jedi and Sith Wars, like.
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
It would be, and I used to be like, oh, I wish they would do this, I wish they would do that, but now I'm just like, okay, how are they? If they do, how will it turn out, kind of thing, you know? So that's kind of what I'm skeptical of now. But speaking of Vader, I truly believe that will be a big shift in Hollywood. I'm confident enough to say that just what we're doing is something that is truly next level. I mean, I haven't seen it. Looks better than the Old Republic cinematics. The level of emotion, the things that we're putting in there, the technology, it's really going to be groundbreaking. I truly believe it, and I think you'll all get a real kick out of it. When you watch it, you're going to be like,
When did it drop it?
in the fall. Yeah, in the fall. So actually, it's March. It's April. You'll have the first trailer finally, and I'm very excited. I truly believe that once that is out, a lot of fans will be like, "Oh, this is possible to make."
Yeah.
And if a fan could make this, then imagine our budget for that episode 2 and 3 is $1 million, which is now going over constantly.
Yeah.
As movies do. Unfortunately, theorysavers.com. Okay, all right. But there you go. But I believe in it, and I think it's going to be really worth it for all of you guys who have stuck with me for so many years, and whether you've just silently watched or you've grabbed merch or whatever it might be. I really am gunning, and we're all pushing to really make this the best thing that could possibly come out. And so that's all I'm going to say about it for now. And once 2 is out, you'll see. And then once 3 is out, you'll all be crying. I won't be the only one that'll be memed at that point. Trust me.
I love it, man. I love it. I'm excited to see. I love this idea of the fans, taking it because the studio's not functioning, at least in the way that we would like. And I think Star Wars has always had that element. George used to do film festivals.
Yeah.
Where he would, and he would really support the fans doing that and engaging with that.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, in a dream scenario, because obviously I don't think Kathy's going to hire you, but
No.
maybe the next one would. You know what I mean? I mean, if
I don't want to be hired. Because when you're hired, you have to sign contracts. You got to do it a certain way and constraints. And I was offered over 7 figures for sponsorships for Vader. Companies wanting to put their advertisements, big companies. I've had conversations with them. Oh, well, maybe you could put our logo, somewhere in the wall or something, off-brand or, kind of off subliminal. We'll pay you X amount of dollars. And I had several different companies hit me up with that years ago. And, I thought about it because I wanted to make the movie and I didn't have the money. And you know, was definitely something that was catching my eye until I got to the point where, you know, I was talking with my dad and they're like, they're gonna own you. You know, it's gonna come to a point where, like these corporations, whenever you do sign a contract and they give you the money, then they control where the narrative goes. Well, what if we have Vader doing this? What if we have the Jedi doing this in that scene? And then it's like, oh, well, I kind of have to do this now because they're paying for it. And so it took longer, but at least this way it's all on my own. And it's going to stay true to, you know, I feel like what George made, at least to the best of my ability. And that's why I never want to work for them.
Yeah, I just think that, and everything you said is true, but I also think there's an element of, like for me, I think, you know, Star Wars itself, as it exists in pop culture, is important. It's almost like a lot of people like indie comics or you know, smaller books, but without the big two, that industry wouldn't survive, right? So like the big two are almost a necessary evil. And what all I'm getting at is, you know, when I think about fandom, and you know, there was a guy who made a very famous Warhammer fan film, and he was hired on, and he's been helping them a lot. I don't know the full extent to which he's involved creatively or whatever, and I know that they let him now. He's doing like his own. It's almost like he's now doing like Vader 2, but like with their resources.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
Like all in his, and it looks. I'm telling you, it looks fire. Like
That's
it looks
wild.
fire. But all I'm saying is that I totally understand what you're saying, but it maybe that sacrifices something for the fandom itself, meaning you might have to go deal with all that crap and these corporations and stuff to actually help that brand.
Well, maybe.
You know what I mean?
I'm open to it if it's, you know, on my own terms or whatever. But, you know, let's just make episode 2 first.
Yeah. Oh no, 100%. I love this idea of the fans, and I do think that it's important, even if it's just through the fandom, because especially right now when things are so bad, you're a tide that could lift a lot of things. But at the end,
So all of us, sorry, and especially with AI, have you seen some of the stuff these like 17-year-old kids are making with Star Wars fan films?
yeah, it's crazy.
I'm like reacting to all of them, having a great time. But
Yeah.
I mean, in the back of my mind, I'm like, this actually in a year or two, you could type something out and it'll do it.
I think it'll be indistinguishable from even photorealistic stuff, probably within the next year or two, right? And I view that whole thing as like a tool and not this thing that's coming in to crush all human creativity. I don't think it works. It's generative, meaning, you know, I don't want to do a whole AI thing here, but
We got time, man. They put us on for 4:15, so the way I see it, we got 2 hours here. So
I guess I just view it as another tool in the arsenal. And I think frankly, I believe very strongly that George would have felt the same way and that he would have used it. He was always pushing technology, always trying to figure out ways to enhance and scale up what he was able to do in stories. But yeah, I mean, like the entire world is heading in a direction where things are going to be more accessible than ever. And that line between fan film and corporate product might actually blur a lot over the next couple of years. I don't know if you guys saw what's up?
Vader episode 2.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, you know, I saw this thing. I don't know if you guys saw this. Ben Affleck had this interview he did a couple of months ago. He was being asked about AI. He gave this really interesting example, and I thought, I would definitely do that. And he said, you might be around the living room with your buddies. Like, imagine, like, me and Theory are there, and it's late at night, and we're like, well, what do we want to watch? What do we want to do? Well, what if we watched Civil War, the Marvel movie, but let's use AI, and I'll be Iron Man, and you be Captain America, and it'll be janky, but like it'll have your face, your voice, you're Captain America, I'm Iron Man. And it's a super janky thing, but it's like a way. And Affleck's angle on it was like it could replace the sales from physical media and these different things. But I think just in terms of how the consumer would use that, and like that would be awesome. You know what I mean? And it's not like you're thinking of that as that's now Civil War. It's more like, I now have a way to enjoy Civil War via this technology, make it more personal, and just have fun with my friend.
Yeah, it's cool.
But it's just like all of those lines are going to start blurring.
Yeah.
You know. So, but what I'm saying is like there could be a way for you to actually, like, tangibly be a part of it within the next 5 years, and especially as technology changes and as the leadership over there changes. I would keep I would keep it open. I mean,
Definitely,
I would never work with Kathy. You know what I mean? Like personally, I would never do that. But if it was John and Dave, yeah, I would. Even a phone call, whatever you need. You know what I mean? Just because I know those guys want to get it back on track.
I hope so.
Yeah. Doesn't mean they can, but they want to.
No, Kathy can, but she just. Anyways, yeah, and I think that leads me to the next thing that I wanted to talk about is like all of you guys, like, don't look at us. We're just two dudes that were the same as you. We just applied ourselves on the internet, and now we're making our own fan films and stuff. Anybody can do it.
We're not anything special. We just did it consistently. That's it. And we had a certain vision, and hey, people liked it, But the same goes for everybody else. And I think the future of storytelling is really not in corporations, but in more so how George started it, which is just, you and me.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
And like that's what Josh is doing with his comic.
Yeah.
I've been writing a book. I'm 60 pages in, finally. And I'll be releasing a comic on my own IP, which is turning out to be pretty fun. It was pretty cool, and I'm enjoying the process. So I think if you guys have a story, and I get this question a lot, is like, how do you start YouTube? You just start.
Yeah.
Like literally, like that camera, that's it. You should put up a video. Don't have to edit it, nothing fancy. Just start growing your own audience, speaking to people that resonate with you, and that it's so easy, man. And it's great. And then you can eventually, that can be your full-time thing maybe. But if you don't apply yourself, you'll never know. So
yeah. I think the fandom's in a weird spot, and I think a lot of people want, like, I know that I want to be excited about Star Wars. I know without a doubt 100% that I want to, but I also know that I'm not. And I know that there are moments where I can kind of break through the fog and find those old feelings again. But more often than not, it's kind of like what you were saying. She asked about the Old Republic, and you kind of went to, but can they? And that's ever present right now. Is like, can they actually do this? And is it actually going to feel right?
You know what's funny is every time I watch the first 6 films, I don't know if you guys have watched them recently, but like you immediately just get that feeling again. Like it's like it never went away. Every time. It's so different. And I like some of the Disney stuff, like Mando, I really enjoyed. Season 1 and 2. Tales of the Jedi was great. So it's like they can hit the mark.
Yeah.
It's kind of just, pick and choose, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I think, sorry guys, I'm fooling with the microphone, my bad. I think ultimately there's been some great stuff created. I think Dave has created some good stuff. I just think that, look, my opinion on this, and this is where one of those things where I treat Andor on equal footing as Acolyte, meaning I see a corporation. Yeah, I know that's wild. But like, you have to understand that to me, what I'm seeing is a corporation taking a established brand and trying to figure out how to change it in order to make it more like this, that, second, or the third. So like even Andor to me is like they were going after a very mature, like people that like HBO shows or Andy Sorkin shows, or like, they were going after a sophisticated, it's called elevated genre, right? They were trying to elevate the genre. And I have no interest in that. And it feels, to me, it's the same thing as Acolyte in the sense that Leslie wanted to make Acolyte and she wanted to make her version of Star Wars. It's like the only person over there that's just trying to make George's Star Wars. And it's not, it's actually technically not because it's George, it's because he created it, right? So the only person over there that's doing that is Dave.
Yeah. Well,
what do you think? Where's,
Well, why isn't he saying stuff when it comes to Acolyte? Why isn't he saying stuff when it comes to Tales of the Empire?
Yeah,
which was just what I don't know. It didn't hit with me. But then Tales of the Jedi was amazing.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I don't know.
The end of Ahsoka, I was like, what? That's not really very exciting. Why you turn Thrawn into this dude that's not really Thrawn to me?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Here's the thing. We don't know for sure. Dave is private. He doesn't really post on social media, right? We only really see him at interviews, D23's Star Wars Celebration or whatever. And even then, he's very coy with the way that he speaks and he answers things. The only thing I could say is that my perception of this is that he's a blue-collar Pittsburgh boy that just wants to be polite to about his boss. And so he's not gonna rock the boat or make waves. But from what I've heard behind the scenes, he absolutely shredded Acolyte and made them change it and made them cut out all the dark stuff that he didn't think was Star Wars. And I'm at least glad that that happened, you know, but it's kind of wild to imagine what was the version of Acolyte that was worse, you know, that like Dave didn't like all so much. But it is a good question. I suppose it's possible, and I guess we'll find out if he becomes president. Maybe it's possible that he views it the same way, where it can be different things for different people.
Yeah.
Because that's like the corporate idea, right? It's like we can have this kind of Star Wars for this person and this kind of Star Wars for this person and all that, right? Maybe to a degree he believes that. You know? I hope not, but
Who knows? We'll see. Do you want to move on to questions?
yeah, we do questions, whatever.
If you guys want to, like form a line or something, or step up, or raise your hands, or whatever. We're chill. Whatever
it's
you
very
want to do,
casual,
whatever
whatever you
want to
wanna
talk
do.
about. It's kind of like, chat. What do you want? What are you saying?
Any questions?
Yeah, go for it.
How do you guys feel about collectibles in general, both Marvel, Star Wars, Hot Toys, Funko, Lego, Theory Sabers? You've kind of shaken up the game as far as collectibles go. You put a lot of time and effort into the care of the collector mentality. How do you feel like other companies are doing it? So you guys talk a lot about the creatives with the movies and the television. What about the toy side? What's both of your perspectives on where Marvel's at with toys and Star Wars?
Well, George made the most money with the toys. That's where he, was able to fund all of the other films. And I feel like, man, back in the early 2000s when the prequels were out, even before that, when it was just originals, I remember toy shelves being stocked with Star Wars stuff like crazy. Like, it was wild. Whereas now it's, I don't think it's because I'm older. It just doesn't seem the same anymore. Do you agree, or?
I feel like it's just it's kind of lackluster. Like you see stuff in the clearance bins, and it's just not as exciting as it used to be. It doesn't seem like they're really like hitting as hard as they used to.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. But I think when it comes to creating a product around something that is really beloved, you need to do it right, because there's two ways to do it. Obviously, you need to make money in order to keep it going and to make better products. But at the same time, you don't want that to be driving you, because, well, we see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure you're creating something that really embodies the heart of whatever it is that you're trying to portray or trying to sell, and that be the leading thing of like, oh, what would I want if I was a kid? And when you're a kid, like, you think $10 is, you're like a millionaire, right? So what do I want in this product? If I were to open this from somebody else, what would I want inside? And so I see that with Lego and the branding and all that stuff. And then you also see the downside of that with stuff that you wish was better, but it's not. So I think there's a real kind of a catch-22 with that.
Yeah, it's always like that. There's a ebb and flow that happens between business and artistry, so it's probably similar across all industries. I'm not super familiar with a lot of collectible companies. I mean, I know about McFarlane Toys and the Marvel Legends thing, and Hasbro and Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering has had similar issues to Star Wars, where a little bit of like watering it down, bringing in some of these other IP, overprinting. It's just greed. It's like we see dollar signs. We want to make dollar signs, and without some kind of artistic integrity or somebody in the room that's going to slow them down, you're basically squandering it, right? But it can also work together. So like, I love Secret Wars, the new one, but also the Jim Shooter one. Well, Jim Shooter just wanted to sell toys, so he was like, let's take all the best heroes and all the best villains, and they'll fight on this made up place, and it'll be awesome. And it was awesome. So like, sometimes those energies can work together. Like, there's nothing to say that you can't crush it and do big business and succeed, but also have some artistic integrity and be plugged in. I think one of the things that's just, it's an effect of corporate power, is that all the power's at the top, but all the perspectives at the bottom. So all the people that are in the shops that are selling, or the collectibles the people that sell the collectibles out there, the people that sell off eBay stores, they're the ones that have the perspective. They would know best what's actually happening in that industry. But unfortunately, it's people in Houston that don't have a toy, that meet on the 79th floor of whatever building a couple of times a month, that are making decisions based off spreadsheets. They don't know it, right? George knew it. Part of the reason why he succeeded in merchandise is because the attitude was, I'm going to sell this movie even if they can't. I'm going to do what they cannot do. I understand how to extract this and how to have this be valuable to people, and they don't. So it's just it's an ebb and flow, and it's all about finding how do we get those energies to work together. Because even Theory, needs to make money off of the sabers, but there's obviously a craftsmanship and a care there that has separated you from the competition, right? So you can get both. You can have both.
Right. That's a good point. And I see, the company that stands out to me the most, that was the most special when I was a kid and now, is one that's no longer in production anymore. It's Master Replicas. If you guys are familiar with that, that was the company that it made you feel special with their sabers. These were officially licensed. It came with the pamphlet. There was a signature. I was like, when I couldn't afford the nice ones when I was a kid because they were like $400 or $500. So I would get the 0.45 scaled replicas, which were like a tenth of the price. So I had the mini ones. But even those came with a card.
Yeah.
Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Signature. This is a little story about whose lightsaber it was. It was Luke's or Vader's dude, I felt so special. I loved that thing. I remember doing video reviews before YouTube even existed, and I don't know where those videos are, but they were cool.
And I feel like a lot of companies nowadays, it's gone from let's create something that's really quality to what can we make at the cheapest cost to us, but the most profit. And I've never talked about this, but and you can imagine the numbers that were thrown at me for saber companies that wanted me to endorse their brand or to even be the face of a new brand that was done by them for years. Good money. And I never did it because, I knew, just like the Vader sponsorship thing, if I were to do that, then I'd be selling out and eventually they would be creating something that wasn't what I wanted. And I need to be in full control, as expensive as it is to create something like that. So I think really if you balance the cost of making, so make sure it's a high cost for you, because then the product is going to be better most times. And then it's something that's at least somewhat affordable, but enough for you to make a profit so you can keep going.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
that's very important. Is it's a balance.
I could have pumped and dumped. I could have made a one-off Theory sabers, and everyone would have bought it the first time, and it would have been shit. And I never wanted that, because you want repeat customers, and that's the same thing that I felt with Master Replicas. Is I wanted that whole collection, all of them.
Yeah.
Which is now on eBay they're like $2-3 grand a pop. Which is crazy, but I think that's the most important thing when it comes to collectibles, is making something where you want to buy again.
Yeah, that's the key. Is you have to really want it, and it has to feel good the whole way. It has to feel good when you see it. It has to feel good when you buy it. It has to feel good when you take it home. It has to feel good a year later when you're looking at it on the shelf. You want the consumer to be filled with good feelings, and I definitely think there's a lack of that consideration in a lot of our world, but.
It's like how you want your husband or wife to be, right?
Right.
Forever, right? So you want it to look good forever. You want it to be good forever.
Kick the tires before you make that purchase.
There you go. Yeah. So we just want quality, and I think in today's corporate world, where movies and shows and products are just trying to make a buck and capitalize, I fell for it too so many times. It's nice to finally see fans making stuff that I think,
Well, to your point, fans might start making collectibles, and they might be legit.
They have.
They have, yeah.
So there's a company that I reached out to recently to say thank you to. Dragon Ball Z's huge.
Oh yeah.
He's been around for a long time. I wouldn't use that thing. Yeah. But there's a company called SH Figuarts.
Yeah.
Really expensive, but they make good product. Really expensive.
I love SH Figures. Yeah.
There's a fan company that came out recently, Beast Deities.
Okay.
And they released just recently. I've been wanting this figure for a long time. I sent you a video.
Yeah.
That was a fan-made figure.
Wow.
And it destroyed one that's now, not like actually destroyed, but it was fan made.
Yeah.
I've been looking for this probably for a long time. It's like $400 back order now. And I got this figure, like a fan sent it to me because he's like, hey, you love your Darth Maul? And I was like, he's got, anyways, $90 is what they were pre-ordering these figures for. And you would not be able to tell the difference between SH Figures and Beast Deity. And they're selling these because they want people to be able to have them.
Yeah.
And it's like kind of like what you said, but they're a fan-based company.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes me think of, there's a lot of, I've seen custom figures online that are like one of a kind.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Because there was a Spider-Man show, Spider-Man Unlimited, and I thought that suit was sick. And they've never made a licensed figure for it. Or they did it, and it was terrible. So I found one on Etsy where a guy took like a model and then did like a custom paint job and all this custom stuff. And like, I was like, this is crazy. And it just can't compare to like the thing that comes off the assembly line. So yeah, I mean, I think the fan energy and like sort of independent, and as technology with like 3D printing and stuff improves, like it's gonna get wild what people could do. I mean, some of you could literally be the ones to do it. To come up with it.
Yeah, you have no idea what the future holds for you, for sure. That was one question. Let's the next one. Yes.
Me and my buddy were talking on the way in. He's got a little girl, and I have a little girl, doing like a week. We were just talking about how we're going to start.
Congrats, by the way.
Thank you. We're talking about how we're going to start our kids on Star Wars. Like what the best order would be, kind of to do that.
Sequels.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
Yeah. Can't go worse from there, I guess. But yeah, if you guys had maybe an idea of what trilogy to start with, what you would do, like with Rogue One, Solo, all that. Josh, with your kids, have you started yet, or?
Well, they tried a little bit of that Young Jedi Adventures. I don't know if anybody's seen that on Disney Plus. And you know, my son he liked it a little bit, but you know, he's just stuck on Bluey, man. Like it's crazy. Like, and I'll always come down, and it's so funny. Maybe I'll record it the next time I say this to him. But I'll come down and I'll be like, Liam, do you want to watch X-Men? And he says, no, X-Men. And I said, you want to watch Spider-Man? No, Spider-Man. How about Bluey? And I'm like, for the millionth time, we're gonna watch fucking Bluey. All right, whatever you want, man. But yeah, I mean, I've thought about that. It's tough because, you know, for me, it's like at one level, I definitely want to share stuff with them. And I mean, that's one of the things, when they're little, they're so cute, but they don't do shit, right? So it's fun, but you also like look forward to sharing stuff with them. Like even my son, who's the oldest, I'm looking forward to a couple of years from now when I can take him to the movie theater. And I remember when the live action Lilo and Stitch trailer came out, I like came upstairs and made sure to watch it with him, and he didn't fully know what was going on, but he like liked it. And so on one level, it's like you want to share something with them, but also like you just want them to be authentically happy. So like if my son somehow found out about Rey and liked Rey, it would be very hard for me to be like, she's a Mary Sue, son. You know, like let's erase yeah. So for me, it will probably, I'll try some things, but I'm slowly learning that the things that kids do are like in between the things you try to do, basically. So yeah, he'll figure it out, and I guess I'll figure it out too.
I think the best order is, well, George actually talked about that. I made a video about it years ago. It was from one of the behind the scenes books, I think. He said, if you watch it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is how he intended, you get a completely different outcome and feel than if you watch it how a lot of us watch it, which is 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. So if you do it the first way, which is in chronological order, you kind of know who Vader is, and you're waiting for Luke to find out.
Yeah, I like that.
Whereas if you watch it, you know, in order of release, you're as surprised as Luke. So you connect with Luke more, which is maybe why I connected with him so much more partially as a kid, because you're kind of in it with him and you're like, wait, what? And your reaction is the same as his. Whereas the other way, you're following Anakin's journey. You know he's Vader. Episode 4, you know that he turned into Vader. Episode 3, you saw him. And then 5, when he reveals that, you're like, okay, now we're all on the same page. So it depends what kind of experience you want him to have, or her.
First off, just want to say both of you guys. I've been following both of you since about 2000, and you both of you have so much impact on my life because I made my own channel, and Josh, I met you back in New York last year, and but anyways, so my channel has to do a lot with Game of Thrones and Star Wars, and it was funny because you had pulled me up on one of your lives about a year and a half ago or so, and the guy who was directly, I think, above me, we actually hooked up, and now we both do our own like little reviews of Star Wars television shows.
Love that.
So
That's cool.
It was really funny, and yeah, so it was kind of cool. But so anyways, my quick question is: I know your favorite character is Anakin. Who's your favorite character, Luke?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably have to say Luke. I like Anakin a lot too, though.
Okay.
I like Han. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so just a quick question. So take your favorite character, and who would they, in your opinion, be united with or allianced with in the Game of Thrones?
In Game of Thrones. Oh, I love that. I love that. So I think Chewbacca would be from the north. Let's see here. Palpatine would be probably a Targaryen.
Doesn't repay his debts.
Yeah, well, he's that's true actually. He just kills them. Yeah, and then maybe, you know what? I unfortunately think Luke might be a Lannister.
I feel like Luke would be Jon Snow.
Exactly, though. But okay, so maybe he's a Targaryen raised as a Stark. Because if you think about it, Luke comes from royalty. He's a prince. Yeah, and he's blonde. He's a prince. He's whiny. He's entitled. But he grows up on a farm with like his other side of the family. So yeah, he kind of is Jon Snow.
A little bit, yeah. That's the extent of my Game of Thrones. Right?
Nice. Yeah, those are good stories though.
How do you guys feel about the world between worlds? Do you think they should explore that more to its absolute fullest? Or do you think you gotta just get away from it because it possibly breaks a whole lot
It's
of the...
time travel. Like, it just makes it cheap, you know? Like, the whole thing with Ahsoka, like, she's alive because she got pulled out of a portal. I don't buy it. I don't believe in it in Star Wars. I think it just makes moments too cheap.
I think you could use it in an interesting way, but you'd have to use it differently than it's currently being used. So like, there could be some reveal. Like, what if we watch this whole story and then we realized like it was just happening within a world between world or something? Like, there could be a cool way to do it. But yeah, I mean, I do think, so Dave doesn't see it as time travel, which is weird because it is.
It's like, you can't change events in there. It's like, well, you can, though.
Yeah. I think his argument is if you did change anything, all of reality would be destroyed. Now, there's a possibility that what he's playing on is actually from the EU stuff with the Celestials and the portals that were made across the universe by, I forget. It was like the ones basically in some of their progeny that had created those portals. And so like there could have been something there. I actually still have this theory that Dave is cooking in some of that old EU stuff. So like I think the Purgle could actually be Yuuzhan Vong scout ships. Because some of the scout ships look similar, and there's some drawings that Dave did back in the day of Yuuzhan Vong scout ships that look exactly like the Purgle, actually. And then one of the other things that's interesting is when they were writing Abeloth in the books, Dave was creating the Mortis arc on the Clone Wars. And he actually worked with the authors outside of the scope of Lucasfilm, was just working with the authors, which is actually how a lot of the EU came together, because it wasn't like officially a canon. Some of these guys would literally just meet and talk and like we're doing, and then they'd write it and it was the EU. But anyway, he actually was creating something similar to the Mother as they were developing the Mother in those books. So then they all get together and they figure that out so that it works the same way. So technically speaking, Abeloth was created in part by Filoni when he was making Mortis. So there's a possibility that all of that stuff is something he wants to pull together in some wide grand vision, or maybe I'm just fanboy dreaming, I'm not sure.
Well, I think he's going to bring her in to Peridia.
I think so too.
In Ahsoka.
Yeah, I think
Which
so
would be
too.
neat.
That would be so cool. It'd
See
be the
what
coolest shit they have going on.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, well. Anybody else? Okay, yeah.
So, have you played the Bounty Hunter game by chance?
The Bounty Hunter game.
The Django one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's like Xbox 360
Yeah.
or something, right?
It's the original Xbox.
Yeah.
Where I
The original Xbox.
GameCube too.
Yeah.
Yeah, GameCube. But my question for you is, since you guys have both played that, what if we feel we could get like a bounty hunter show? Because we see Django before, he's even on Community, he's going with Jaster, and then you can see like a season of just Django, and then a season of Zam, and then it could just go on and on. Where I feel like a lot of, not just me, but a lot of people, we have this bond with like the clones because they're not the Jedi, they're just regular people, even though they're clones, but
No, I know, yeah. Yeah.
that's why I think Rogue One was so successful, because there's that frontline perspective.
Sure.
That movie single-handedly made me go enlist in the army, so it's like, what do you think would be the best way to go about doing a bounty hunter TV show? If you were
Not like Book of Boba Fett.
no, not like that.
Episode 1 of season 1 of Mando.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
That shit was cool.
And I do think that, doesn't seem like a no-brainer to do the bounty hunter shows. And, doesn't it also seem like a no-brainer to, do the best one as he was?
It's a no-brainer, but they have no brain over there, so that's the issue.
Do season 2 of Boba, and he's like, fuck respect! He's just goes nuts, dude. Come on, man.
And at the end of it, he's like, I don't think I'm cut out for this life. It's like,
Yeah, dude.
all right, dude. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely think you're right, though. That would be cool.
Yes, Lord Maul.
So, my question is, what's your best birthday to date?
What?
What's your best birthday to date?
Your best
My best birthday?
What was your best one?
I mean, this was pretty cool. It's different. It's different for me. Get to hang out with you guys, meet Josh for the first time. This is great. I'm not big on birthdays. I don't really care, to be honest. It's just another day. Yeah.
If we had a theory on Balin's skull,
On Balin's skull?
yeah, what do you think's gonna happen? He's the most interesting character.
He is. I don't know. It's tough now because of Rey
I know.
and passing on. So
Well,
it's
they
like,
hired,
right, the Hound,
yeah.
which is so cool.
So I have a theory. I think the next time we see Balin, he will be physically altered. Not just because he's a different actor, but because he's been corrupted. So that might help the transition into the new actor, right? If he's not just Balin, but Balin almost like that guy in the Doctor Strange movie where his eyes started to get sunken in and destroyed like that. So yeah, I would expect the next time we see him, it depends. Is there a time jump or not? I think he might be pretty dark side, pretty corrupted. Should be cool.
Yeah, well, something was pulling to him. He was being pulled to something. So
Yeah, he was being drawn.
well, he was I don't know if you watched some of my videos on it, but he had that moment where it was he was looking out to that mountain, and that was the same mountain that Anakin went to in the Clone Wars, where the father was sitting there.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, is he just gonna return again? What's the deal?
Yeah.
Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Theory. Happy birthday to you. Woo! Oh, it's one of these. I knew you would do it. Yeah. There we go.
Smoke alarm. One more. Yeah, I'll help you. Okay, there we go.
All right,
let me see.
now they got spit on him everywhere.
I'm wishing too.
Thanks.
Oh, but these won't go out. I'm gonna take these out of here.
Probably raspberry.
Raspberry's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Maybe we can get some of that later.
Yeah.
I'm
You want
sure
to
they give you the raspberry.
I know, right?
Do you want to just do a couple more?
I think pretty much.
Couple more questions and then.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that guy.
It smells awesome in here now, just saying.
That smell good.
Burning.
I do like the birthday cake.
I was gonna say, kind of a Mustafar situation.
A little bit, right?
So,
Yeah, we got a couple more. If anyone wants to shoot some questions, and then we will call it a day. Yeah.
Gary, how would you describe the experience when you worked with Rod Christensen for the
Oh, dude, surreal. Yeah, you should see the one we're making now. It's a rendition of Vader's. It's pretty cool. Working with him is, I mean, geez, it's literally a dream. Like, the guy who created the lightsaber. I mean, that's and he trusts me to like carry his baby. Like, it's just really cool to talk to him. We have a lot of like off-camera conversations, and it's interesting to be able to talk to these people like Nick Gillard, who's like my friend now. We just like shoot the shit. It's very, very interesting, to say the least. That's the best word I can come up with for it, but here we are. It's cool. Yeah. Super cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Is that it? Oh. Yep.
Any ideas on doing like a lightsaber choreography contest?
Yeah, no, I'm going to be announcing one very soon, actually. The first prize will be 10 grand, second will be 5, and the third will be 2.5. And that'll be online, so anybody can join, anyone can enter. It'll be just a cool fan film choreography sort of thing. I've yet to announce that, and the judges will be myself and Nick Gillard. So it'll be cool.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be good.
I'm gonna twirl that thing.
Oh, he's very strict with how he judges. Oh yeah. It's gonna be tough. Anyone else? Yes?
Do you feel that with the introduction of more like survivors in Order 66, like Cal and Family, do you feel like that's kind of lessening the impact of Order 66 and like Vader like going up and down? Do you feel like that's kind of
a little?
Like, now they're introducing too many. It's like
a little bit, yeah. Vader's gonna have to kill them all. That's the only way it's gonna like, be legit. Kind of like how it was when the Force Unleashed books and games were coming out. But besides that, I like those two characters, so for me, I'm like, all right, they're interesting, but anything more than that, I think it's a little much.
Yeah, to me, it's like a fine line, because you definitely, like, you're right, but also there's zero tension if there aren't at least some out there. If the Inquisitory doesn't matter, if Vader's not hunting, then it doesn't matter. So there has to be some of them to drive that tension, right? So it's a fine line, though. Yeah, maybe they're going a little too much.
We'll see what happens, dude. Yeah, one more, and we'll call it.
Is it this guy over there?
Yes.
You want to do blasters too, theory sabers, or just sabers?
Right now, we're just focused on sabers. I feel like we're just pushing it really fast and as far as we can with the technology of what we're doing and what we're going to do. That we don't want to, diversify too much into some other sort of thing. And we feel like sabers is where we want to really own, and then move on to other stuff eventually. But that's what I really want to do well. Yeah.
Just a follow up on that. You got one coming that is going to extend the blade?
No comment. But thank you guys for making this birthday amazing. Thanks for making this panel amazing. Without you guys, like I said, we wouldn't be here. So thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much.
And we'll be at my booth right now for a little bit if you guys want to come there and hang out or anything. And then we're going to go get dinner and shoot more vlogs.
Oh, yeah.